Yeah.
No blazer.
Or hat.
Or hat. Yes, that's right. You know what? Just always keeping us guessing.
Changing it up.
Changing it up.
All I got to say to you is...
Hey, motherfucker!
Oh, so good.
Right?
What? Oh, it's awesome.
I will say this. I don't begrudging anybody for wanting to celebrate the birth of their child annually and celebrate it by inviting their child's friends, all that, to partake in this fun celebration. But 4:00 on a Friday, driving one end of town to the other at rush hour times. Why?
It's a lot, yeah. As Steve Martin would say, that's parenthood, baby.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah, it sucks. Like, thankfully, like for
Friday,
us,
though?
Yeah, like when we got, and here's the other thing. We got the invitation for this party at the last party, which was last weekend. So less than 7 days. Hey, by the way, since you're here, come to our kids' party. And then, we found out it was on Friday. We thankfully, our board was off. So we thought, okay, that's probably why they did it. But not realizing, okay, it's still after working hours. And we still got to get there because we're Canada, that's Maryville, which no time of day is ever not congested or slow. Or
before I make my next statement, where was the party? Was it at like a gymnasium? Like not gymnasium. Oh, yeah. Where was the party?
Not to just promote a local business, but why not? Bubble Sea Adventure.
Never heard of that.
It is a Cosmic Adventures type operation. So run around for 2 hours and tire yourselves out through tunnels and climbing apparatus.
So then there might be the chance that you could save some money having it on a particular day, which in this day and age is completely okay. You know, like if you need to save a buck. But if you also need to consider the teeny tiny, other component of it is, the parents, the people that will drive the children there. At least it was 4:30. Imagine it was like, yeah, we're going to do it on a Friday at 2 p.m. Like, oh, okay. Well, not all of us can take time off.
I also got lucky too, is that, it's the slow season for our business.
Fair enough.
Leaving early is not an issue. In fact, I was going to leave at 3:30. I got sent home at 2. So
there you go. So it worked out, but still, those are side cases where that can work out.
I took the extra hour to go and indulge and purchase a new lawnmower.
Oh, nice.
An electric. Yes,
okay.
Electric.
Okay.
I'm thinking long run will pay for itself. Like my jerry can for this current mower is empty. So I'm thinking that's probably $50-$60 to fill it up for the season.
Yeah.
So that's what I got. I also had $200 in Home Depot gift cards. So take that off. And there apparently, as I was pushing the box of said mower on the cart to the cash, someone stops me and says, "Are you buying this?" I said, "I think so." And I said, "Well, come with me.
Should I be buying
there's a special deal going on because I got this 16-inch one where you get a free tool." And it was a choice of a pressure washer,
get out,
a leaf blower, or the one I selected was the electric trimmer. God. So now I'm all eco-friendly here while I trim the side of the yard and cut the yard.
That's amazing. I when we moved into this house, I needed to move away from a corded lawnmower just because the cord was not long enough. And
Yeah, that's my problem with the trimmer.
Yeah, and it was one of the best investments I ever made. So I get out of one charge, I get the front and the backyard perfect, but I have to make sure that I charge the battery after I'm done both the front and the back, which is fine. I mean, what else am I going to do with the lawnmower? So I'm full on, like I fully embrace the electric powered tools.
That's right, man.
I also just recently bought a pressure washer from Canadian Tire. I used my Canadian Tire money, and I got a Simonized 2100 psi pressure washer because I want to clean off the deck and then paint it with a bit of grit, like that grit paint that's available. Because we have a hot tub in the back, and I find that the moment the deck gets wet, it's like a skating rink, and we've had numerous slips, numerous slides, numerous tailbones, almost broken. So I figured, it's probably good that I should maybe, just paint it, get some grit on it, some grip, and protect my loved ones. So
yeah, that's why I've noticed too when because I redid the back steps. We have like a little landing as you come out the back door, and you have the stairs to go down. We had to redo it because it's all rotten. And then waterproof stains, so the water just sits on it. And you got to squeegee it off because it doesn't go anywhere. It's insane.
No, it just sits there, stews.
And then like here, where you're getting like no sun, any bit of rain, it stays on there for like weeks on end.
Going back to the birthday parties for a second.
Yes.
Let me ask you: Are you one of the parents that will like stick around if they ask, like, "Hey, we're at Adventure Kingdom, or we're at whatever establishment. You're more than welcome to stay." Are you one of those individuals that will stay, or
no?
Will you, like,
9 times out of 10, 9 times out of 10, Ashley's the one that takes the kids. So
okay, wow.
Depending on that's the little one who's the wild card because she's 5.
Right.
Usually will stay for because she can't be trusted.
Fair
she
enough.
Can't be trusted at home sometimes.
But you get to that age, though. You get to that certain age, like I figure 6, 7 is that age where, okay, you know what? You've invited my offspring to your party. You can deal with them and give me 2 hours of bliss.
Yeah, it depends on the kids. I think with Parker it was less. He's the like, go, you're embarrassing me. Summer's the more shy one, so she likes the idea that mom is still around.
Okay.
But Ava, she'll just take off and, well, what are these kids doing? All right, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that, and that's why we have to watch her.
Just go and do whatever she wants.
She's the wild child.
Welcome to Open Collar, the podcast that keeps you updated on all the latest happenings in movies, TV, and all things geek culture. Whether you are a diehard fan or just looking to pass the time with some laughs, we've got you covered. So sit back, relax, grab a drink, and get ready for a wild ride. I'm Steve, and that person over there without the hat is Cory. First time in a long time. And this is episode 107 of Open Collar.
Yeah.
107? 107?
107.
We've had the plague hit us temporarily, so we had a quick pause.
Did we ever?
So I just want to make sure we are right. 107 on your dial.
I do not wish that upon anybody. And this is not even like COVID or anything. I meant anything gastro. No.
Awful.
Terrible.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's you will not forget about it.
No.
Oliver, his first birthday, the day before his first birthday, we were supposed to have a huge party. It was our first son, like he's our first son, his first birthday, like this huge thing. I was working at the Sens at the time, and I remember Carolina was playing that Sunday. I obviously didn't go into work because of the party, but even if it wasn't the party, we had pizza the night before. And next thing you know, Jade's starting to get sick, and then she's getting sick from both sides, and then a couple hours later it's me, and next thing you know, like just the whole night we're just sick. And even Jade, I'll never forget this. Jade was like, well, we can still, maybe the party can still happen. It's at like 3:00 in the afternoon, and here it is like 3 a.m. I'm like, there's no way. Like, this is not happening. And that was my last foray into gastro, and it still haunts me 11 years later.
So you haven't had you've been vomit free since?
Never from both ends, and that's like kind of my that's my litmus test is like true bad gastro is like if you get it from both ends. And that's a gross topic for a podcast, so I apologize.
No.
But
health.
Yeah, I mean it's never happened since then, and it haunts my memories. I can't even eat pizza, which is a local establishment here in Ottawa. Can't touch it to this day. Can't do it.
Some would say that about pizza but for different reasons.
I mean, pick one, right? Just pick one. So, but you're healthy, you're back, you're good to go.
Well,
somewhat.
Yeah.
40% there.
We are through the darkness. Dawn is upon us. We're getting better. Yeah. Not 100%. Like I was fine today, then had dinner, and I'm like, I don't feel so great.
Yeah, you're day 3 into day 5 of Gandalf saying to Aragorn, on the 5th day, I will come with my shining army. And you're kind of like, you're on day 3, so you're almost there feeling better, but you're not quite. You're kind of halfway there. I trying to do an analogy with Game of Thrones or Lord of the Rings, and it didn't work. So
I'm a daywalker here.
What are you gonna do?
I'm like,
lots to catch up on, though.
Oh shit, yeah. It was CinemaCon this week down in the place that was holding it, Vegas.
What is CinemaCon?
CinemaCon. If I what was it used to be called? I can't remember what it used to be called. But it's right now. It's kind of like Comic-Con now, but it's not really for like Marvel to come out or DC to come out. It's all the studios to do presentations. So like one day's Paramount, one day's Universal, one day's Disney, one day's.
But they can do any genre that they want.
Talk about whatever their big things coming out, they'll talk about it. Like I think Disney did all their upcoming stuff. Obviously nothing Marvel related because that's not what they're about. It's showing the Walt Disney Pictures or Paramount. I think that was the last day they showed Mission Impossible and Quiet Place. Next one I'm working on.
And it's in Las Vegas.
It was in Vegas, yes.
And is it there every year, or is it just there this year?
I think as of late, that's where it's been.
That would be kind of cool to go to. Like, I don't know, because it would be a different experience, right? Like, you go to San Diego Comic-Con, you're there for comic books, you're there for the culture, you're there for cosplay, you're there for panels, you're there for Hall H. But then if you went to what's it called again?
CinemaCon.
It's just about movies. It's probably a uniquely different experience.
Yeah, like I'd be up for that. They did a CinemaCon screened for those in attendance, The Flash.
Oh, okay.
And I think there was one other one. What was the other one that was screened?
Let's put a pin on that because I have a thought now.
All right.
When we talk about that, let's put a pin on that. I didn't know that they were screening it at CinemaCon.
Okay. Well, that'll be geek news. That's later.
Stay tuned. Later. Stay tuned.
But well, I've watched some movies this week. Since we're talking CinemaCon.
Well, you've also been dying and recovering from death, so you've had time.
Had to. So let's. Of what I watched this week. So what did I watch this week? First up, I watched Smile. All right, turn this off.
Oh, okay.
Did you see the trailer for this?
No, but I can never see the trailer for this. This frightens me.
So I love horror movies.
Yeah, no.
I love good ones.
I'm a puss.
Okay. I will tolerate a shitty one if it's got some good jumps in it. So the trailer freaked me the fuck out because of obviously what it's called Smile. If those not listening, Smile is what I watched. I'm catching up on all the.
Got to remember that, eh?
I'm so used to the visuals.
Yeah, that's right.
We started with the audio, and now we're
Open
going
Color
to
Pod
visual.
on YouTube.
Yeah. So basically, the premise. I'm trying to remember the general premise from the trailer is that.
Should we call spoilers just in case? Spoiler alert. I mean, I don't care if you spoil it for me because I won't see it. So it's
been out for a while now. So if you haven't watched it, you're probably not going to watch it. So that's how I look at it now.
Perfect.
So the movie really opens up. There's this doctor. I can't remember her last name, but her name's Rose, not Rose Nyland. This is not a Golden Girls reference. So she's a therapist, counselor. She's meeting with this girl, and this girl's talking about how like there's something coming to get me, and it's trying to kill everybody, yada yada yada. And she's like, oh, you're fine, like it's all in your head, sort of thing. And then it's like she turns away and then turns back, and like the girl's just sitting there with this big smile on her face, and then she kills herself.
They're in
the room and in front of the doctor.
You've lost me at that point.
She smiles, and as she's smiling, she takes like a broken piece of glass from a confrontation that she had before, because she's freaking out about this thing that's coming to get her. And then she just like puts it to her face, and then the whole time smiling, like cuts her throat.
Do you see it? Or is
you see it because the camera stays on this. This is the scene. Like this poster here is the scene as she's doing it. That's why she's got some blood on her face.
No.
So throughout the course of the movie, you learn that there's this demon that tries to take the form of humans, and what it does is through trauma and these hauntings and fear and stuff, ironically with your Lord of the Rings analogy, after 4 days, this demon takes you over, and to inhabit somebody else to move on. It's a curse. You have to keep moving. It absorbs your soul and then moves on to somebody else. And it has to you have to kill yourself in front of somebody to create the trauma for it to then now move on to the next person.
Okay.
So, and like all these movies, the person finds the backstory of all this, tries to find a way of stopping it from happening again.
Like an investigative reporter, like something's fishy.
She finds this one person who they go through all these cases of similar instances and found out there's one person that was able to pass this demon on to somebody else, but not take their own life. And the way he found out was in order to do that, you have to kill somebody else. So murder someone in front of somebody to pass that on, because you're creating trauma for somebody else. So that's how he beat it. So he's in jail, but he's alive.
Oh my God. This is just
so she doesn't want to do that, good person at all. So decides to take the demon on herself, which when I'm watching this going, have you learned anything about this? And anything from any other horror movies, you're not gonna stop. Like Freddy will still come at your dreams, whether you take him out.
100%. It doesn't matter how many Coca-Colas you drink or coffees you drink or Coca-Cola coffee mix that you drink. You are going to fall asleep.
Freddy's coming.
Freddy will get you.
Yeah. So
this.
I knew how this was gonna go, and it's exactly how the movie ended. So while it piqued my interest at the beginning, throughout the hour and a half that it was, it kind of lost me, but there are some still genuine good jumps in it, but not enough.
Is this a franchise that you can see will spawn multiple sequels? Like Smile 2, Smiling, Smiled, Smiles,
Smile Harder,
Smile Harder, Smiler.
Smile Hard with a Vengeance.
That's right. That's right.
Of course, Smile Another Day.
But do you feel like they would actually do something like that? Like Smile NATO 4.
Smilopus.
You could just all day.
No, in the world of it cost us $20 to make this, and it made $200 million. Yeah,
it made $200 million.
No. I'm just saying it costs like a penny, and it made a 20, right?
Right.
It made its money back plus more, like exceeded expectations. So sure. I can see that. It's unnecessary, obviously, because seriously, like it's one of those ones where again on paper, marketing great, looked amazing. I was reading they did a marketing blitz on this where they would have people who were in the movie just at baseball games sit behind the home plate.
This is how I know about this movie.
Yeah.
Is
So
because there were people that were at the baseball games just and it freaked the shit out of me. I was like, listen, no,
that's great.
You're messing with my mojo.
The movie wasn't that great. That was great. This was not that great.
Yeah, well, sometimes you overmarket to compensate for the movie itself. But yeah, like I was watching baseball games, and if Joe Buck didn't say like, hey, you know, come into theaters, whatever, smile,
like,
I would think there's going to be an explosion at this baseball diamond.
Yeah,
like there's something happening. I will never see this movie ever. Like this, even this picture is kind of freaking me out a little bit.
I do tend to take things down a lot, but since I'm moving on to another one that I watched, I left the slide up. So moving on. Knock at the Cabin, keeping the horror-ish theme going on. Have you seen anything about this one?
I know of it. Like it's,
okay, so M. Night Shyamalan. It's based or inspired. Can you really say based anymore when they change a good chunk of it?
Well, that's what inspired is, right? And inspired means
so inspired, not based. So it's a cabin at the end of the world, I think, is the book. So premise of this movie is families on vacation in a cabin.
When you say inspired, is it inspired by real events or
inspired
by a book?
A book huge entitled.
Difference. Okay.
Huge difference. Inspired by the book or based on the book, I think is how they say it. The cabin at the end of the world, I think it's called.
Sorry for cutting you off.
All right, hey, this is what we do. Premise is families on vacation in a cabin, knock at the door, 4 people show up, basically saying, we have mean you no harm. We're just saying like bad shit's gonna happen, and you're the family that's gonna save the world. Obviously, they don't believe them because why would you? But it really turns into you have to sacrifice something in order to save millions of people. And what's that sacrifice going to be? Obviously, like they're a family. They're basically giving the whole thing away here. So, so these 4 people again, they are just ordinary folks who had a vision of the end of the world, and it all points to this particular family and this particular cabin.
So do you see the visions they have, or is it just
no? But they talk about it a lot. Like they say, like, you know, this like the whole point of like we're not trying to scare you, we're not trying to mean, we're not trying to hurt you. This is just what we've seen. This is why we're here. This is who I am. This is my name. Like Dave Bautista, obviously you can tell by the size of the one guy in the poster.
Yeah.
Like he's a gym teacher, like out of Philadelphia. You know, yada yada yada. There's one woman's a nurse. One woman's just like a stay-at-home mom.
So these 4 that you see in the picture, and sorry for those listening, like it's a picture, a promotional picture. Are they the ones going after the family, or are they the?
Yes, they're the ones that go to the family. So
again,
I don't know if many people are going to see it. I don't think so. Again, another one that if you haven't seen by now, you're probably not going to. But if you read the book, you know what I'm talking about. Basically, they're essentially the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse.
Okay.
Indirectly, like they're just happen to be 4 people who had this vision. So what they want the family to do is if they were to sacrifice one of themselves to end, you know, their happy life, you know, sacrifice your happiness, you'll save the world. Obviously they don't want to do that. So each time they don't want to, they say, we make the sacrifice, and they say no, one of these 4, you know, gets offed. And then by doing so creates a plague to show that they're telling the truth, right?
Oh my God.
So you say no, okay, well, this guy's out now, God's gonna, you know, unleash a plague upon the earth, and they still don't believe it. So then another one goes, another one, so on and so forth, until
so, you know, like I could read this book. Like I could
from what I gathered from user reviews, the book is a lot better than this movie.
They always are, though, right?
And the endings change for the movie versus how it goes in the book. Apparently in the book, it's more tragic than what happens here.
Like when it comes to, I'm not going to say horrors, but like this to me, I don't think is so much a horror as it is.
It's not. It's
like a thriller,
it's a psychological.
Yeah. Whereas like I'm fully on board. Like I can read the book on that, no
All
problem.
right, so I won't go into how this ends, but
No, don't, because it's very interesting.
I'm sure it's a very slow going movie, and like with
How long is it?
it's less than 2 hours.
Okay.
But it feels slow because a lot of it, like something will happen that's progressing the story, and then which seems to be the case with more of the M. Night Shyamalan movies, it jumps back.
Right.
So you get more of the backstory of the couple.
And who's in it? So there's Dave Bautista. Any
Dave
other notable
Bautista,
names?
Rupert Gint is the one in the red, from Harry Potter. What's his face? Shit, I forget his name now. Guy voices Kristoff in Frozen.
I don't have a daughter, so I don't know.
I think it's Jonathan Gaff or Graff. Sorry if I butchered his name. A lot of people who watched Glee and shit knows what I'm talking about. I know he's one of the father of the couple.
It's funny, like you mentioned, like they are the perceived 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, and you look at the image that's showing on the screen for the people watching, and every single one of them has a different posture, different height, different like body
Color,
structure, color. Like it's very clever in that sense. I'm assuming Dave Bautista is the one in the red, right?
Dave Bautista is the giant guy in the middle.
I know. I'm just,
yeah. So this one, like, it was all right. I expected more. Maybe that's my fault.
Okay.
Next up, Avatar: The Way of Water.
Yeah, be careful with the spoilers on this. Okay. That's not a good start.
I will say this: you can take this as a spoiler if you want, but by no means am I going to give anything away with the story, except that I say this is the same fucking movie as the first one.
I figured it would be. I mean, except they're not mining this or mining that.
Same fucking movie.
What's Buddy's name in the first one? Like I just watched this a couple of months ago. Like the first
Jake Sully.
Jake Sully is it Jake Sully that's in the second?
Yeah.
Like is it his family?
It's his family.
Okay.
Right down to he's the narrator still. Like the bad guys are the same.
What?
Like you do world building in the first one, and this is now we've built that world. Let's shift to this part of that big world and focus on this for 3 hours.
Right.
So that's my short sum up of a 4-hour movie.
They basically made this movie for the visual effects, like the skimming
100%.
of the water, the
100%.
islands, the
under
content.
the water.
Like the
Instead
movie,
of having
like the meat and potatoes wasn't there.
Yeah.
Right.
No.
Yeah. How much money did it make though in the box office?
Enough. All of it.
Yeah, made all the money in the
the money.
The U.S. debt crisis could be solved with this movie.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Okay.
All right. I
had a feeling. But
if you liked the first one, you're gonna like this one.
See,
if you had problems with the first one, you're gonna have the same problems with this one.
So here's my history with Avatar. I saw Avatar 1 when it first came out in theaters, which was 2009.
Yeah.
Okay. I then saw it maybe 2 months ago for the second time. So we're talking here like 14 years since I've seen them.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed it the second time because I had completely forgot about what it was. But then I feel like, am I too close to seeing the last one where this one will ruin it for me if it's the exact same movie? You know what I mean? Like I had just experienced the visual effects and the story and the gravitas of it.
So that that could help with this because you're right into like you finish, you saw it, you know what you're expecting, you know what it's about, everything. The visuals are great, and now you're going to see the same movie with improved graphics.
Right.
But again, it's like I guess it would be like reading volume 1 and volume 2 of a run.
So
in books,
maybe
you're reading Fellowship, then you're going on to Two Towers, right?
Right. So maybe what I'll do is I'll give my review of Avatar: The Way of the Water in 2037 when we're on episode 642.
That's right. And you go, it was
talk about a prequel announcement.
Yeah,
like
there you go.
Anyway.
And the last new one, this is the newest release that came out. Dropped on Paramount Plus this week, actually, was Scream 6.
Yeah. I mean, you're on like a Sick and Twisted, like...
I was catching up. Like I said, I was going through this stuff. So obviously, horror movies I don't really get to watch at home a lot,
right?
With kids, and like I said, the missus doesn't really care for that stuff. So I've seen Scream 5. I think 2 years ago it came out, and I thought it was terrible.
Okay.
And I like the first one. Second one's okay. Third one, I don't really remember. Fourth
and then
one,
it drops after the third.
The fourth one, I don't know. I'm probably never going to review these, so I'll just give it some. I liked the premise of number 4 because it dealt with being famous for being the victim before that became like what everybody hates now. It's like, these kids, started killing everybody in Woodsboro. So and then staged their, going to be attacked. Like they're survivors, but not try to be famous for being surviving, but being famous for being a victim of what had happened. Right.
Right.
People want to be the survivors, tell their story. These guys want to be like, we're the victims.
Sell the books and
be famous. Like you're not the heroes, you're not the survivors, you're the victims. But 5 ended basically doing the exact same thing. It was almost like remaking 4 to do the same thing, but also go back to the first one again. It was kind of all encompassing. This one was better. Had better. I found better ghost face as it was.
When did 5 come out? What year did 5 come out?
5, I think, came out 2021. I think it was like COVID.
Oh, was that recent?
Just when they were starting to do movie theaters again.
Okay.
So like this one, like it pays homage to the whole series. Like, it's one of the few that actually mentions all the characters that were the murderers from all the sequels, versus where they usually focus on like the first one.
Is this franchise a continued story? And what I mean by that, like, are there characters that are either
that's kind of what I was going to get with here. Like this one takes the characters from 5, continues them onto this, but with the exception of Courtney Cox and a reference to Neve Campbell, who didn't come back because of money. It kind of is its own thing. Like it's kind of starting a franchise with new characters, but with still homaging back to the history that predates it, which is kind of cool. It's not doing what Star Wars did, which is basically just keep trying to shove everything down your throat. Of this came before it. This is what you need to focus on. This is there. This is what happened. We're honoring this, but we're also moving forward. It's like The Last Jedi, but people didn't get mad about it.
Is that not Courtney Cox in the promo photo with all of her plastic surgery? Hey-oh! Come on, sound effect.
Yeah, pretty much. So of the 4 that I watched, this is the one I would recommend.
Really? Okay.
Good time. It's not a good time for the people involved, but it's not. There are gory Scream movies that people kind of got sick of as it went on, is being self-aware meta. There is some of that. There's obviously you have the trademark scene where everyone's sitting around and they're talking about horror movies and horror movie tropes.
Right.
But it gets away from that pretty quick. And then obviously, the big reveal at the end goes right back into it, but still it was not a bad watch.
Is it gory or is it like a lot of off camera?
Oh, of course. Of course it's gory.
I mean, puss, I can't do that shit. I can't do it. I mean, I would be not sleeping for weeks, and I'm already not sleeping. I'd be scared. Horror movies, no. Thrillers like the Ghost in the Cabin, like I could read the book, like, and I would enjoy it, but no. Clearly you had something going on where you're like, I'm just gonna watch all these different types of movies, and Take
Well-
it in and get freaked out. Get totally freaked out, man.
Don't freak me out though. Like the one that freaks me out, and I watch it all the time. I actually, ironically, have just rewatched it. The Mist, the Frank Darabont directed Stephen King adaptation.
Okay.
I
haven't seen it.
You won't. I'm sure we might probably. I'm sure since it's Stephen King, you won't even read the novella either.
Yeah.
Do you know of The Mist?
I feel like I've heard of it. Like I feel like I've seen the cover of the paperback, and it takes place in Rhode Island. I'm sure.
Yeah, the New England area.
Yeah.
There's a storm, and Thomas Jane's in the movie, so I'll use his character just to explain who I'm talking
about. I know what.
So you go to a grocery store, and this mist encompasses the town, and there's things in the mist, and the things in the mist are taking people out, yada yada. But what fucks me up about that movie, and it did the first time I saw it, and I don't know why I still watch it, because it still does every single time I watch it. Okay. Now this does not happen in the novella; they changed it for the movie. So they're obviously hanging out in the supermarket. Eventually shit's going wrong. Obviously you don't want to stay there forever. No sense of staying here and dying when we can try to get away. And worst case, we're going to die there. You're no worse off wherever you go.
Make a run for it.
So they get in the car, they're driving. They obviously go back to his house because that's where the wife was throughout this whole ordeal. Check on her. Spoiler, she's in. So they keep driving. Car runs out of gas. 5 people in the car.
Check the gas, buddy. Honest to God.
What are we gonna do? Well, we're gonna die. So pulls out the gun. 5 people in the car. 4 bullets. There's him, his son, who's like Oliver's age. It's funny. Half this cast ends up being in The Walking Dead. So Andrea's in the front seat. Dale's in the back. The old man Dale, and then Cliff's mom from Cheers.
Are they all? Did they know each other in the car, or
they know it? They're all from the small town, so they all know each other.
Right.
But they're the ones that end up leaving together. So basically, Tom Jane just says, "Okay, basically, I'll figure something out for myself." Boom, 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 boom. Gets out of the car, waiting for the monsters to come and get him. Hears a noise, turns, closes his eyes, expects to get eaten. Military truck drives by. Then there's more military. The mist clears. They were minutes away from being saved. Now he's got to live with if we just would have waited that much longer.
My God, like that's a mind. Fuck.
Because like just before, like the kid's sleeping on the girl's lap, and see the kid wakes up and looks, and boom. This, Steve, all off camera.
Yeah, Thomas Jane's a good actor. No, absolutely not.
Imagine that. So that wrecked me the first time, and I don't know why I keep putting myself through it again.
How often do you watch that movie? Like once a year?
Years, yeah.
Wow. The one that really messed with me is Fallen, and it was with Denzel Washington, John Goodman.
Elias Cotes with the
touch, right?
Devil passing from hand.
Yeah, just like passing from hand to hand. And
I don't think I saw it, but I remember the trailer. I'm like, this is just.
I remember like being out, like outside or whatever, and like the wind will rustle the branches, and I'll think, oh my God, this is the demon coming for me, and it messed with me for I would say at least 2 or 3 weeks after I'd seen it. I was 19, and I mean I'm still younger, but man, it messed with me to the point where I still don't forget about it. And same with Child's Play. Like that just
Chucky, Chucky at his finest.
Yeah, I'm just
before it became like a horror comedy, right?
I'm not good with that genre. I really am not. And I'm sure I've said this before. Like I love horror trailer movies. Or pardon me,
trailers for horror movies. Yeah.
Because you don't see the gore. Mm-hmm. You kind of get the sense of like, oh my God, how scary is this? And that's it. And you kind of just leave the rest of your imagination. I'm good with that. I'm good with that. I'm good with give me a minute and a half or 2 minutes of what this potentially could be and let myself play with, the imagination of it all.
Yeah. So. Another ending that freaked me out too as a kid was not the original, but also not the other 2 remakes, but the 70s, the Donald Sutherland Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
No, I haven't seen it.
So, You probably
I know
see
of it. I
memes,
know of it,
memes and
but-
shit. But the end of the movie where they all think, because he's the hero of the movie, right? And he gets separated from this girl, and like you obviously got to hide out because you don't want to be taken over by the pod people. And she's sneaking around, and then she sees him like in like sitting in a park, and she like walks up to him and is like, hey, I think we could do whatever. And he turns and points to her and like like screams out loud so everyone knows like she's not one of us. She's a human, because he at some point in the like when you saw them get separated, he got taken over, but you think he's fine, and that's how the movie ends. The hero didn't make it.
That's pretty awesome though. Like when
right?
the hero, like when it doesn't end the way that it's supposed to.
Because the movie ends basically like fuck, we lost.
Which
humanity lost.
If you think about it, like in the 70s, that is huge. Like
that Cold War
like,
stuff, right? Yeah.
Like the oh my god, we didn't win. Like this is like the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
I think you'd see it more common now, but like in the 70s, that wasn't really a thing. Like it was always, good prevailed and, minor losses, casualties, but in the end, we kind of made it through the storm. No, not with this movie, apparently.
No, pod people take over.
Yeah. God, no, Jesus Christ. Just give me comedies. Like I'm good with comedies.
But everything that happens good in the comedy.
Everything. No, I mean,
right.
Just honestly, just comedies all the live long day. All the live long day.
What's funny about that?
Everything.
Everything
is everything.
You watching the hockey that's been going on?
I have, yeah, and the Leafs lost last night. It was amazing. I'm an Oilers fan, and it's extremely hard to watch the Oilers in the playoffs
because it's late.
It is. I mean, they start at 9:30, and it's like you get it. You watch the first period, you get into it, and by the time the third period rolls around, it's like, oh, I got to go to bed.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of unfortunate. It sucks about Winnipeg, but really the only two series I've been focusing on is obviously Edmonton and LA, and then Toronto and Tampa. And I've never in my life cheered for Tampa Bay until this year, because I absolutely cannot stand the Maple Leafs, and it was amazing that they lost last night. Amazing. And I mean, go ahead.
No, sorry, someone was saying like the Leafs are going to win tomorrow because they cannot lose, because that'll be just riot central. Because if they lose 6, they're losing 7. That's
100%. And listen, if they lose tomorrow in Tampa, they're losing Game 7. And it comes down to this simple fact: there is way too much pressure playing at home for that team, regardless of the players you put on the ice.
Mm-hmm.
The pressure cooker that is inside of that arena, is shitty as that team is and shitty as that arena is, the pressure cooker that builds for those players is too much. Like, it's too much.
They would have been better off than the 3rd seed to have Game 7 in Tampa.
For sure. And like I was saying to one of my colleagues today in Toronto, he's obviously a huge Leafs fan. They would be better off playing game on the road. And you know what? No home games, like, whatsoever.
Yeah.
Last night so we're recording on Friday. So last night, Thursday, which would have been Game 5, Toronto got up pretty early in the game. I think it was I want to say 5 minutes in, if that. 1-0, and then boom! Not like within like 30 seconds later, they just tied it up and just deflated.
Everybody in the crowd was like, for the 10-15 seconds, been like, "This is it! Like this, we did it!" And then reality, and then
exactly
down they went.
And then the same thing. They brought it up. They brought it up 3-2, and they're like, "Oh, this is it. We're gonna win this game. We're gonna be parading in 2 weeks' time." And I think that's what kind of, I mean, there's so many things about it.
Every city council meeting, when they do their fiscal budget, they got the money put aside for the parade.
For sure they do. For sure they do. And I mean,
everyone else is like, we'll find the money. These guys don't put it aside every year.
Yeah, and I think that's it. Like I almost like, I don't want them to win because I can't stand them, but I would say the other reason why I don't want them to win is that every Maple Leafs fan that I talk about is going to be this is like the greatest thing since sliced bread. And another thing that I noticed that as I'm speaking about it is Toronto lost game 1. They won 3 in a row, and then they lost last night.
Yep.
Game 1 was, refs are complete bullshit. This is, utter crap, the way that the refs are officiating the game. They won 3 games in a row. Not a peep. Last night lost. Oh, refs are shit. And there's two, like you either win the game or the refs are shit. That fan base will never say, you know what, we had a bad game, we deserve to lose. It's not in their vernacular.
No, let's be serious.
God,
if there's one thing that's true, the refs are always shit. Whether it's your team or not, they are just always bad. You just notice it more.
Yeah, I mean, Edmonton got burnt in game. Game 3 with the high stick. I mean,
I don't know if I'm not a physicist, and I can be honest when I say this. I am not a physicist, but I do know when something is arcing and then drops down, it met resistance somewhere at some point.
There is like immediate impact.
Yeah,
deep impact. Yeah, it's
yeah. Unless you're saying there's some invisible force field like in any sci-fi movie we've ever seen that doesn't count as hitting something.
Cory, we all know that it was the entire 300 level in LA. All of them were blowing down. It just perfectly hit it. We know this.
Only paid more attention.
So then apparently there's some other series going on, like New York and Carolina, and what is it? New Jersey and New York. I mean, teams that I could utterly give a shit about.
I'd show you something, but I probably shouldn't. Just sort of, I'll show you. No, off air, I'll show you. When I show you why.
Okay.
You'll understand why. I'll show you. Off air, you'll understand why I did.
All right. Sorry, listeners.
And viewers.
Yeah. So, but apparently also basketball playoffs are happening, which I mean.
Yeah, like in Canada, if there's no Raptors, nobody cares.
No.
Actually, I just didn't say that. Unless the Raptors are in the finals and have a chance to win, nobody cares in Canada.
Baseball's still going, which is great. Baseball is still pretty awesome. So
60-9 Blue Jays still third place. The AL East.
It is a tough division. It really is. Which is fun.
Long season. 182 games.
Well, they're 1 month in, so yeah, they're plenty of ball left. Let's just say that. Plenty of ball.
Of ball before the eventual collapse that is the Blue Jays.
No.
They'll collapse. They'll collapse at some point.
But
then they will get it back together. Just by
They needed.
They come back to reality before they.
I think they've got the arms to do it though, to support them in the bullpen this year. I really do, and I think they've got Don Mattingly in the dugout that will stabilize things. But if they don't do it this year, if they don't at least make it to the ALCS this year, there's going to be some problems, and mainly Guerrero not re-signing there, which is.
But we know he will not sign with the Yankees, so
no,
don't need to worry about that.
Which is great. God bless him for that.
I do like how that was a big thing going into that series.
Makes you wonder, like where does that come from? Is that like from Vladdy Senior? Like, did he have an experience there playing when he was with Montreal or LA? Like, did he experience something? Like, I that's what fascinates me the most about sports, and I wish athletes weren't as cookie cutter in their press conference or interviews or whatnot, because there's so many storylines that if you really knew like what was going on or the reasons why they were feeling a certain way, it would be so intriguing. And
it's funny though, like with regards to this and that series, how when he's being interviewed, speak through my translator, but when he's on the field, John with you, he's cursing you out.
For sure.
So, yeah, he knows what he's doing.
Well, I mean, like he's doing his commercials, and it's like you were just speaking like pretty good English there, And let's be honest. I mean, like you have been interviewed. He's 24, 25 years old. So let's just assume he's being has been interviewed since he was 12. Well, there's almost 15 years of your life. You've been asked the same type of questions, the same, you should know how to answer.
Yeah, you know how to say things.
But I
Typical
just
sports answers.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? And listen, like if there is a worse interview than John Tavares, please let me know who it is, because this guy is so vanilla bland. It's awful. And he's just like, he epitomizes hockey and the players whenever they get, it's just, they're so like cookie cutter answers.
I'm assuming reading at the bounces.
Where it's just like, oh, there's no I in team, and we're just gonna have to check ourselves and come back and play a little harder, and we just gotta rub this off on our shoulder, and and it's like there's no genuine like answer. Like there are times where you just want someone to be like, yeah, it sucks. We played like crap, and we're gonna come out and hopefully and just be real in their honor in their answers to the interviewer. But Jonathan Tavares, you hear this guy talk, and it's so robotic. It's yeah. Toronto.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, let's get the Maple Leafs like.
Yeah, I'll get that out. Let's take a breather, an ad, and then come back with some geek news.
Mr. Bucket.
That's right. I'm Mr. Bucket. I'm Mr. Bucket. Toss your balls in my top. I'm Mr. Bucket. Out of my mouth I will pop. I'm Mr. Bucket. We're all gonna run. I'm Mr. Bucket.
The game's Mr. Bucket. The first to get their balls into Mr. Bucket wins, but look out, because the balls will pop out of his mouth.
I'm Mr. Bucket. The balls pop out of my mouth. I'm Mr. Bucket. A ball is what I'm about. I'm Mr. Bucket. We're all gonna run. I'm Mr. Bucket.
Mr. Bucket from Milton Bradley.
Bucket for fun.
The first to get their balls and Mr. Bucket wins.
It really is a genius invention when you think about it. It's like, how can we train our kids to pick up after themselves and make it into a game?
Yeah.
We're just going to randomly we're just going to randomly shoot balls everywhere and just get the kids to pick it up and but
so he can shoot their balls out of his mouth.
I remember that game. I never had it myself, but I remember being at friend's house and playing that game. And just like organized chaos. Like, where is it? It's just, you grab it, and you wouldn't even sometimes because it only came with a certain amount of those scoops. Yeah. And if the scoops the balls would go like, there was grooves within the scoops that the ball could like easily like secure.
Well, because they're like wiffle balls, right? So they
and then you just but I remember myself, like other kids, we just grab the balls and throw it, and if you didn't have good aim, it would just bounce everywhere. It was just organized chaos.
Organized chaos.
It really was.
All right, let's talk some geek news. It's not Punch Out.
I don't know. It's been a while. It's been a while. What do we start off with?
Early reviews are coming in for Guardians of the Galaxy 3. It's supposed to be pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Why? Because it's the first F-bomb used in the MCU, which is everything that I'm seeing on my feed right now. First F-bomb of the MCU. Fuck. Like, oh my God. Like, really?
I know. And it's like in-depth, like a couple 100-word articles is the one that I read it on too. I'm like, really? This is what we're talking about?
Yeah, I don't need a think piece on one word. Like, let's just hold your horses. And
game changer, because apparently it was in scripts of other projects that they removed. So here we go. This is the one. And it looks, from what I can see from the ad, it looks like it's not cut out either. It will be.
I am enjoying the I'm not enjoying like as if I'm perpetually watching it. I enjoyed the second trailer for Guardians, and I am excited. But we are still at the point of we don't know how Marvel treats the advancement of their stories through their movies. So that's where we're at right now. And until proven otherwise.
So it was 4 years ago yesterday, Endgame came out. Wow. And everything I'm seeing so far says this is the best movie since then. So that should tell you we've had 4 years of shit.
So 4 years after the MCU first started, which would have been 2012, was the Avengers.
No, yeah, 2012 was Avengers 08. So yeah, you're still right in the math. You're just wrong time. Your
Right,
first,
but what I'm saying is like,
yeah, 4 years
like,
after 2008, 2012.
Like, I guess
Avengers,
my point is, Endgame came out in 2018, or 4 years ago. Pardon me, 4 years ago, and here we are, Guardians of the Galaxy 3. My point being is that back when MCU first started, 4 years after that, we had already assembled a team. We had already built up the character stories, and we were given an Avengers movie, which was huge, the biggest movie of its time at the time.
Yes,
and not that I'm expecting that, each and every opportunity, but like there's literally been like very little that's advanced the movie. Like, we might have a variant of a Kang playing Kang moving forward. I mean, who knows? We just don't know this.
Yeah, like the advancement of the franchise the first official moving forward of this franchise, maybe them changing an actor.
Yeah, and like
not in the movies themselves. It's back behind the scenes of controversy. We're replacing an actor, so everything you're seeing going forward has already been changed.
So that being said, I'm gonna wait because we're obviously gonna be talking about the Flash. But I have not a theory, but I have a thought. Maybe I have a way of thinking moving forward when it comes to the Flash trailer. But yeah, when we're still sticking on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, the first two I really enjoyed. I had some gripes with the second one, so if the third one can be half as good as the first one and just as good as the second one, then I'm okay with that. I'm a sucker for Chris Pratt too. Like, he's just a very charming character or actor, pardon me. Like, I can get behind most of what he's doing. So
you can pick up what he's throwing down.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you?
That's next week though. Next Friday, it comes out next Friday. Shit,
that's why these reviews are coming out. Something fierce.
So, what do you think? What do you think your plan is for seeing it? Do you think you'll be able to see it next weekend?
I have no
idea. You just like fly by the seat of your pants, right? Like, just yeah.
You should see my fridge. It's riddled with birthday invitations. Like, I'm not kidding when I mention I don't begrudge people, but I kind of kind of begrudge them.
Yeah.
Have them all you want. Just stop inviting my kids, so we don't have to take them.
Well, I might be seeing it next Friday. Just saying.
Might is a very, very low, a small word, but it's like it's. You're seeing it next Friday.
100% I am. Unless my better half, has planned something for us, which I know she hasn't, because Saturday we're having people come over. I think I'm good to go.
Unless the boss has other plans, you are free.
So far, the boss has not scheduled me in, so I'm good to go.
Perfect. So, The Flash, are we watching that again, or are we just going to discuss?
Let's watch it again. If you have it queued up. If you don't, then...
I had just twisted your arm, didn't I? Hey, right now. I love it when a trailer does that for me.
I lost my parents.
Like, who is this? Who is this?
Made me who I am.
The myth, the legend.
I spent a lifetime trying to right the wrongs of the past. As if fighting crime would bring my parents back. You actually did it.
I can't imagine what you've been through.
I love you, Monkey.
You lost both parents in one day.
Barry! Call 911 now! I went back in time to save my parents. But instead, I completely broke the universe.
If you went back and changed the past, This world must die. You changed the future.
Do you know what this symbol stands for?
Means hope, right?
I will help you fight Zod.
You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
I have to undo what I did.
These scars we have make us who we are. We're not meant to go back and fix them. Don't let your tragedy define you.
What did you do?
No matter what we do, we're not going to be able to fix this. No! Nobody dies!
Are you kidding me?
You're strapped to your parachutes.
Where's yours?
Oh my god, I'm so excited for this movie.
As you said, you're so excited to be disappointed.
Oh, I'm so excited to be disappointed. Like I'm so excited.
There's
Oh,
three
everything.
three things I want to say.
Go ahead.
Okay, first one. I really wish everything that occurred with Ezra Miller did not occur, because that is going to have a stain on this movie going forward. Where it's going to prevent people from seeing it, whether I'm going to be permitted to see it, because Ashley does not care for they at all. I just think it's going to be overshadowed leading up to it. So that's the first thing. Second, it really, I don't know this actress enough to critique how she's going to be as Kara, but I would have liked to see Henry Cavill come back for this.
We don't know. Like, I mean, like, we don't know. Like,
and the last thing, I know just it's one, and I sent this, I think the shot on Instagram of Michael Keaton saying his line and then Affleck. And I know it's a small piece, but I think just that delivery of that line of when he talks about fixing scars by Affleck is fucking pitch perfect. Like, that is what Bruce Wayne would say, and that is how he would say it. So maybe I haven't given him credit enough. Maybe I should go back and watch those movies.
He was an amazing Bruce Wayne. Like, Ben Affleck was an amazing Bruce Wayne. Maybe wasn't the best Batman, but I would even say he was a pretty awesome Batman.
Just circumstance, right? Not in a good movie.
No, exactly. I hear the monologue that that we all hear when Michael Keaton is speaking as Bruce Wayne in this trailer. And I think to myself, you know what? There is Kevin Conroy, God rest his soul.
Yeah, man.
The voice of Batman.
Yeah.
But then I think of live action Batman, and I think, my God, Michael Keaton. Like, it brings me right back to 89. It brings me right back to, like, he almost has that, like, that Boston accent, that Chicago accent, where it's like he's
from Pittsburgh, right?
Like,
he's
no, but I mean, like, he, like that.
No, I know what you're saying.
His accent, but
yeah, like he's
street
tough.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he's street tough. The whole thing with Ezra Miller, it is what it is, and it sucks. But I'm just gonna watch this movie for what it is, and however they deal with him as an actor, I'll deal with afterwards. The thing that I keep thinking about every time I see this trailer, which I've seen this trailer now about 3 or 4 times, and I've seen the first one about 3 or 4 times. Every time I watch it, I cannot stop thinking about who is that woman that's in that sweater with the green on her finger when she's touching the picture on the wall, which is the same person that's looking at the bat suits in the bat cave, but she's got like blonde, like sandy blonde hair, which isn't Kara's hair color. I just noticed that this time around when we were watching it. So I don't know if it's her. So who else could it be? Like, I feel as though, and I hope they're doing this, because we've seen oftentimes, like with movies, trailers recently that we've been exposed to, where like they just kind of give away shit. Like Professor X was given away in Doctor Strange 2, and other examples of spoilers like that, which would have been so perfect if they had just waited for the movie. I'm kind of hoping that they will save something. And I feel like there is like something, like the premise is what it is, right? Like Barry goes back or, changes time to save his mom. And in doing so, removes superheroes, metahumans from the world and goes back in time. And Zod, there's no Superman to defend against Zod from Man of Steel.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like there is a big piece in that still. Like there's something missing that we're not being shown in terms of coming back from that and resetting the universe. Like I feel like there's something that's missing. And God, I hope I'm right. And I am ready to be disappointed with this movie, 100%.
I also feel that we're not going to end with 2 good versions of Barry, because they're fighting with each other right towards the end. I feel as though one might end up being a villain.
Like what? Like this is what I wanted to. I can't believe I didn't send this to you. I took a picture of, where was I? GameStop. And I was just looking around. We went last Saturday. And I was looking at what are they called? Funko
Funkos, the vinyl figures.
Like the Pops.
Yeah, the Pops.
And there was a, I'm going to show it. The listeners, unfortunately, won't be able to see anything, but it was the Dark Flash from the movie.
Oh. Well,
from the
one
movie.
thing we do know about toys is that sometimes they do things just to sell them.
I don't know, though. I mean, like,
I remember there was a branded No Way Home Mysterio figure. He wasn't in the movie.
Fair point. Okay.
I remember when X-Men Origins Wolverine came out and there was a Deadpool. It looked nothing like Deadpool.
Yeah, that's true.
But
so what I wanted to say, though, was, we talked about Guardians of the Galaxy and like the fatigue with Marvel and whatnot, and the anticipated hype that's coming with the Flash.
Yes.
Like the reviews I don't know if you saw, but the reviews are starting to come with the Flash, and like they're showing a pretty promising movie.
I did see one say believe the hype.
What's that? Sorry?
This is one that said was to fans, believe the hype.
Yeah, so I'm treading pretty cautiously with that, because studios will tend to release it for review to more favorable
I don't think they're gonna you're gonna come out of CinemaCon watching The Flash and say, what a shitty movie that was.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm kind of tempering myself with it, but even if it is true, or even if it's half true, that's pretty promising. And are we at the point now where it's like, you know what, Marvel, we're kind of done. Like, we're kind of fatigued with Marvel. DC has kind of stumbled over their feet so many times over the last number of years, where if this movie actually finally gets it to that point where they can launch off and make a cohesive story for 20 plus films, is the appetite now maybe to shift to DC and focus on those characters? Like, are we kind of at that point where it's, we're kind of not souring, but we're kind of yawning to Marvel and being more excited about DC?
I could see that, because like with Marvel, I know we've talked ad nauseum before how they took the C level and made them prime time, right? Yeah. Iron Man, Captain America, Hulk, Thor. Well, Iron Man's gone. Captain America's gone. We're getting all these new characters that people don't seem to be gravitating towards. But DC is now starting over with their A roster.
Yeah.
So maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And also,
and you know what? Like Marvel won't be able to do anything with the Captain America. Like I'm not gonna say Thor because Thor is technically still in the universe, but Captain America,
yeah, but after the last movie,
for sure, Iron Man. But my point is that they will not be able to get to a point of at least resetting it until the second Secret Wars is done, which is what 2026. So we're
7 knows now.
Yeah, we're 3-4 years away. By that point, DC could have established itself with the core characters, and now we're just all gung ho for them. So I feel like we might be kind of at that shift, right? Like that
shift in the paradigm.
Yeah. Which I mean, I'm okay with. Like, hey, for me, if either side succeeds, great. But maybe it's a bit refreshing to take a look at some of the characters on the other side of the fence now.
I'll never tire of Batman, really.
No. Like, and honestly, seeing Keaton in that trailer, like, how bad do you want, like, a Batman Beyond? Like, how, like, I want him to...
Well, there was rumors that's what they were doing before Gunn took over.
Yeah. And
like, it was exactly. Keaton was going to be the Batman. Fuck Affleck, we're going back to Keaton.
Oh,
and now it seems now we're going with none of them.
So do you think in the trailer, are they like, did Barry go back to 89's universe, or like, do you think that's Batman 89, or do you think that's Batman like kind of like the analog to Thomas Wayne from Flashpoint?
I think maybe, because I'm trying to think, if you go back to 89 Batman,
well, it's 23.
Logically, would that not then still go into Kilmer Clooney?
Oh, yeah.
So are we going to say this goes into 89 Batman, but then none of that other stuff happened?
But I think we are to assume that the 89 Batman universe, Clooney and Kilmer
are erased.
We're one and the same. Like, I think they're just like they are
Keaton.
They are Keaton. You know, they are Bruce Wayne. So I'm just wondering, like how awesome would it be, or awesome? I don't even know if it's awesome, or just like how cool would it be if God, what's the reporter's name from 89?
Vicky Vale?
No, the guy, the reporter.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking
Knox,
about.
not Knox. Yeah.
I think it is Knox. Yeah, I think you're right. For him to show up, like, just to like a little nod.
Arliss,
right? Like,
in here.
Like, we are, Arliss. Yeah. Like, we are. You know, this is 89's. World.
Fuck Perry White. We're going with Knox.
Yeah. Like, that would be kind of cool. Like, that would be.
I know when they did Crisis on Infinite Earths on the CW.
That's right. Back. Yeah, they did that. Yeah. Yeah.
And Burt Ward.
Yeah, Burt Ward. That's right. He was in there too. Was he in the? No, he was in this
66
or 66. Yeah,
that's right.
But still, like, I mean, I think that would be kind of cool. Like a little nod, and it's on the big screen. So, unless you are as learned as we are, then you wouldn't you wouldn't know otherwise. But yeah, I'm fucking ready for this movie. Like, I think I've just come to the conclusion. I'm ready for this movie. Disappointed, sure, but I'm ready.
Yeah. Well,
you don't seem so convinced.
I have not seen anything that the Snyder infused universe that DC's done has impressed me. So
I don't see any Snyder in these trailers, though.
Well, just the casting and
for sure,
these are his characters, right? Yeah, like, he created what this Barry Allen is like, right? And from what I can tell, from what I've seen, from the trailers for Justice League and what I've seen from this one is, while it's the same actor, it looks like they're being played completely different.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know, like when Barry's standing up front of his house and he's just kind of like arched, kind of like sloped over a little bit, looking back, That Flash outfit is just like Flash is my second favorite DC character next to Green Lantern. Like I love the Flash, and it's just it's hitting all the feels, like everything about this trailer. And I'm not even thinking about Ezra Miller. Like I'm just focusing on the character. Like I am. This is the character, right?
No, Grant may be my Flash from here till.
Oh, for sure. Like,
and that fucking season, man, when he had to go back and let his mom die, and whew.
Grant Gustin is up until now like the epitome of who is Flash.
If they can somehow do something with this Flashpoint where he's the one in the movie,
maybe
afterwards, but they won't.
You don't know that though, because
come on, they won't.
Really?
Why give the fans what they want? I don't see them casting fucking John Hamm as old Batman. He's been trying to do it for years. I think he'd be perfect. He's got the face.
He would be. He's got the chiseled.
Like why not? Like they're doing Batman Brave and Bold with Damian. Why not? How is this not an older Batman?
Don't get all worked up.
Perfect.
It hasn't even been casted yet, and you're already like,
no. They're already talking like mid-30s.
Yeah. You don't know. I mean, chances are that Grant Gustin will not be a part of this movie because it's a silver screen big theatrical release. But the door is still open because of the fact that Ezra Miller's Flash, the Flash that we know from the movies, showed up in the TV show. So if he can show up in the TV show, then the TV show can potentially show up.
What have we learned so far about the interconnected movie and TV properties? If it happened in the movies, it happened on S.H.I.E.L.D., but nothing on S.H.I.E.L.D. happened in the movies.
It's Marvel.
Still think Coulson's
Marvel. It's Marvel. But that's Marvel. DC could actually be learning from these mistakes. Hey, listen, will our hearts be broken? Sure. In some way, shape, or form, our hearts will be broken.
Okay.
But we just don't know in what capacity yet.
Fair enough.
It's true, though.
Yeah. Fantastic Four, we were talking about the other day.
Okay, so...
Some rumored casting.
I haven't done anything because you said, well, I'll drop this knowledge on you. No, the only thing I know... and I've heard, and this is from like a week or so ago, is that Adam Driver was being rumored as Reed Richards.
Yep.
Which I have thoughts about. I feel like he'd be better served as Doom, but
another rumor that came out, which has since been negated, was Mila Kunis for Sue Storm.
Yeah. Okay.
And the one I heard was for Galactus, Antonio Banderas.
Really?
I'm not kidding.
Like, are you kidding? Like, is this
no,
real?
Not at all. 100%.
Are we live?
Yeah, we're
not off air.
No.
Wow.
I'll say it again. Galactus, Antonio. So
you mess like what is
deal with it. It's not official, but deal with it right now.
You ate my planet. Now I'm going to eat yours.
That's right.
Zorro. Yeah, with the Zorro with the except he does a G instead.
Yeah, does a G instead. Yeah.
Oh wow. I mean, Antonio. And that's like Marvel was really at one point excellent at like finding the diamond in the rough and like not relying on the A+ movie actors and actresses.
Yeah,
because obviously they also had a problem earlier on in the MCU of them not wanting to be a part of it because it was
their biggest actor at that time was Edward Norton, Academy Award nominated. I guess Robert Downey Jr. as well.
Like now you have people that are like, no, I want to be an actor in the MCU because it's like it's recognition.
Marvel get this guy on the phone. It's this guy get Marvel on the phone.
That's right, and like, sorry, but. You need to sell me on the fact that Antonio Banderas is going to be Galactus. Like, give me 3 good examples as to why this guy is Galactus, and I can give
Puss
you
in Boots?
6 as to Puss in Boots. Like, I'm not saying you. I'm saying you to the universe. Like, are you kidding me? Like,
Spy Kids.
So he's Galactus is Spanish, apparently.
Desperado.
Only if he sings it. Desperado, why don't you come to your senses?
No, I don't think he's gonna do that. But I'll give you
No,
Spy
he
Kids and
probably
Puss in
won't.
Boots.
I don't remember Spy Kids. Like, was he good in Spy
I
Kids?
didn't,
Like,
never saw.
was
it.
he
I
like
just
an
know,
Earth Eater?
I know he was the dad.
See, and this is like no. And see, that's the thing is like Galactus should not be about who's voicing him. It should be about what Galactus is. Like Galactus is an Earth Eater. Like he's a devourer of worlds.
Mm-hmm.
Who cares about who voices him? Like, what's more important with that
Seriously,
character
if we didn't put
is
and Vin Diesel as Groot, would anybody have known any different?
no.
Oh, even fucking Bradley Cooper as Rocket.
I still struggle with Bradley Cooper. I mean, I really do. Like, I mean, every time I hear Rocket, I'm like, is that Bradley Cooper? Like, I can't.
You don't know unless you see like the side by side of him in the booth doing the lines.
Yeah. So what about then? Any rumors on who would be Johnny Storm in the Thing?
Those are the two. The 3 I saw the driver thing too. The 3 that I saw.
Huh.
Well, the Thing also would be what mostly. I'm assuming they're gonna. I think they're probably gonna already be established. Like it's not going to see Ben turning into him, so probably that'll be like the last cast.
I mean, I could see Adam Driver as Reed Richards, but I think of like Kylo Ren. I think of other roles that he's done where he just might be better.
I think of the one notable and the rest.
No, and you know what's funny is that is true. But you know what's funny is I was gonna also say like I remember him playing Kylo Ren on SNL, but still he was Kylo Ren.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like he seems better served as like a Doctor Doom or a villain of some sort.
So he needs to be the heavy. He needs to be the bad guy.
He does need to be the heavy. Yeah, like and he's also like he's also he can potentially be not a ripped guy, but like a bigger statured person.
But even Doom doesn't have to be, right? Because he's got the cloak and.
But like what I'm saying is like Reed Richards is more of like the scientific, like thin frame.
Yeah.
Like reaches with his arms. Like he's supposed to be a bit more thinner in nature, and I don't see Adam Driver being that. Like he's got the long, like he's just a big dude. So, but apparently it has to happen pretty soon because if Captain America 4 is entering into pre-production, then
they're shooting right now.
Or they're shooting, sorry. So then it needs to lead into like there's shit's got to be kind of handled. Antonio Banderas, no.
You know what? Reed Richards, Grant Gustin.
Yeah, I feel like he just
he's got the long neck. He's got
yeah,
cap.
He does. You're right. No, that's a good point. Does he need to be a little bit taller though?
I think he needs to be a little bit older.
Or a little bit older. Well, maybe not necessarily. I mean, you can get away with like he could be 30 years old. That would be okay. Like that would be fine.
I like bearded gray Reed Richards.
Like what was the rumor that I saw? I heard, pardon me, not saw, but I heard the rumor that the Fantastic Four might be for the MCU. Like they had discovered interdimensional time, like travel back in the 60s. And so they went off to go, explore the different dimensions and whatnot,
Mhm.
and they come back to today's world, but
Out
they're
of time.
from like out of time. So if that's the case, like I would buy Grant Gustin as
That's
Mr.
almost
Fantastic.
like Escape from the Planet of the Apes. Like they're all scientists from Earth future and come back to the 60s, and mind you, these people are monkeys.
And they come back with this dire warning that Galactus is coming, which is from the comic books. Yeah, could work. It could work. But we need Antonio Banderas as Galactus.
Right? Like, come on.
Like, and who is going to play Silver Surfer?
Pedro Pascal.
Yes. I mean,
because he's in everything.
He's in everything, right? I mean, and you don't need to see his face to know that it's him. And he's got a soothing voice.
You imagine he just comes in, does his Mando voice.
Well, I mean, would there be any other voice for him to do?
Well,
but if you think about it, like the Mando voice, mind you, it's a bit like not robotic, but it's a bit muffled because of the mask. That voice could work.
It's very smooth. I know you don't want to go back to Lawrence Fishburne like in Rise of the Silver Surfer.
I didn't mind that though.
Knowing that Doug Jones was under there, and then knowing that it's Lawrence Fishburne,
right?
It took me out of it. You can tell, like, oh, this is just some guy who's dubbing over someone who was talking.
And Doug Jones was like, he had played in Hellboy, like he had, he wasn't nobody.
Same thing happened to him in Hellboy. David Hyde Pierce did the voice in the first one.
Come on, really?
And Hellboy one, David Hyde Pierce was the voice of Abe, but in the second one, he opted not to do the. Like,
I'm sorry,
I did not do anything. I don't want to do like the voice over somebody else's work. So then it was Doug Jones.
There's got to be a record in there somewhere of like most dubbed over actors in movies. Like that's just seems like he's got the shaft. Poor Doug Jones.
He shows up in a lot of stuff.
He plays a lot of creatures. What was the movie where like the girl fell in love with the sea creature from the pool or?
Oh yes, I never saw that one, but I know you're talking.
No, I never saw it, but he was the sea biscuit.
Almost... Just, might as well be. Fuck, that's a perfect name.
Honest to God.
Wow.
But the creature was it the creature in the
It's the Shape of Water.
That's
Avatar's Shape of Water.
Were you quickly searching when your head was turned there?
Yeah, I figured it was.
That was really
on the
good.
iPad
I thought you were just like scratching or just like adjusting yourself.
No, I just paying attention.
That was an incognito. That was great.
Yeah,
The Shape of Water.
Yeah, Avatar: The Shape of Water.
That's good.
Yeah, man.
What else we got? Anything?
Apparently, Marvel's Kraven spin-off movie.
Yeah.
Gonna be R-rated because apparently that's something they still have a hard-on for.
I feel like it needs
movies
to be,
for kids, but they make them rated R, so you can't let them watch it.
I feel like it needs to be though. Kraven needs to be R-rated.
Does he?
He does though. He's a hunter.
I know, but according to what's his face, Aaron Taylor Johnson, that he's not, and that Kraven doesn't hunt. He's like a fucking conservationist.
Fuck off. No. Who is this guy? Aaron
the guy who's playing Kraven.
No, and I guarantee you, he has not read comic books his whole life. If he says conservationist,
he said the actor described Kraven as being a conservationist and a protector of the natural world.
For sure, until I can buy into
until he decides
theory.
He wants to.
I can buy into that theory until he. So now, does Kraven in the movie get injected with the serum or become infected with something or something of that sort? Because I can tell you right now, Kraven the Hunter is not a conservationist in the comic books. He is anything but
He's called the Hunter. I can't necessarily call a Kraven the Conservationist.
Could you?
That'll sell some books.
That's the title for this episode, Kraven the Conservationist.
According to Screen Rant, they showed a clip of the movie and also at CinemaCon, and it contains a lot of blood and lots of F-bombs. Because like I said before, if you want to sell a movie as rated R, just drop F-bombs.
Yeah.
It worked for Logan.
Yeah, I don't know if I like that. I mean, just throwing F-bombs for the sake of throwing F-bombs seems a bit, idiotic. But it does need to be R-rated. Like, it can't be. I feel like Deadpool. Deadpool was R-rated or no?
They both were, yes, sir.
Yeah, they need to. You need to treat those characters that are like that as they're supposed to be, and if they're supposed to be R-rated, record as such or make as such.
I don't know. To me, it seems like there's no F-bombs in the comic book, so why am I watching it?
Well, I mean, depends on what comic books you're reading, right? Like, they're now coming out with like Black Label, and there are more adult themed and oriented comic books that are available,
right,
which have.
But when you walked into your 7-Eleven,
for sure, 100%,
which is what all these kids read, right? The Spider-Mans and
that's a good point.
The Archie comics.
Are there other ways to get your movie R-rated other than using the F-bomb? Like, is it like
you can for violence if it's
so? Then they should just
focus
on that. But maybe what they're doing is that, unfortunately, the way that their grading system works is that if they don't use F-bombs, then it's got to be an extremely gory movie, which they don't want. So to kind of remedy that a little bit, they mix in the F-bombs that will kind of balance the scales to make it an R-rated movie using both of them. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because they could, like to your point, like there's no need to use the word fuck, and that's fine. But if they don't, then that means that they're gonna have to kill a lot of people. They're gonna have to be extremely gory, and then it just turns it right off. So
if I say fuck twice in one movie, then we're good. I don't have to kill as many people. But if I say it once,
is it only twice?
Yeah, it's twice. You can drop it one time. Oh my god!
Why did you make me go on? Like, why didn't you stop me? Like, here I am thinking like they had to do it like 10 or 12 times.
No, it's twice.
Oh God, Cory, you could have this. It was
truthfully, for years I thought you couldn't say it. You couldn't say it once. And if you learn anything from Titanic, you can show one boob and it's PG-13. You show them both, not so much.
Paint me, Jack.
You just have that like in your quiver, just the lines you know to quote.
That's right. I mean, when it came out, I was 19 years old, and I saw a boob on screen. It was something I don't easily forget.
Hey, the best part of that movie is the guy hitting the fucking smokestack, and then.
That's right. That's what I remember.
That part I remember.
All right.
So last episode we discussed, was it a cancel account or something akin to that with 40-Year-Old Virgin? So I watched, and yeah, pretty much from like the second the title's on the screen until the closing credits, very, very little of that movie can be redone today.
No, it was. I'm gonna make a slight amendment to that. It was when he leaves for work for the first time, talks to his neighbors about Survivor.
Yeah.
After that, because like him, waking up in the morning, going to the bathroom, that's fine. That's what happens.
The morning wood. You don't think people would complain about that?
No, my God, that's a fact of reality. That's what happens.
Fair enough.
That's what happens. So I would say say from
once you walk into Smart Tech, it's just game over.
100%. I mean, like went to Mexico, saw a horse have sex with, like it's just.
I kind of felt bad for the horse.
This was like. Where do we want to start with this? Because it is a classic.
Go ahead. Take the ball and run with it.
Just Steve Carell. I'm a firm believer, after having watched this recently, was either approached or was like given the role as Michael Scott.
So here, I'll tell you this. They did season 1 of The Office. Then he did this movie.
Oh,
and then they said, you know what? This is what we want Michael Scott to be. And that's why in season 2, his look is different. And, he's lost weight. And he's just like, they molded Michael Scott for season 2 after Andy in this movie.
After Andy, okay.
Yeah.
Because I found some similarities.
Yeah, it's a bit of both. They did it. It wasn't really working, and they retooled it.
Like even when there was a lot of conversation last week about how much of the movie would be made versus not being able to be made and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And I think it starts with the poker game right at the beginning when I forget the guy's name, his black friend.
Jake.
Like, are you gay? I have a lot of gay friends, and they in jail.
Yeah,
and
it's okay to fuck guys. I got a lot of friends who fuck guys
in jail. That's right. And then he's Andy going on about like, I just be so horny.
Yeah, be so horny.
Oh, so good. Like, just it makes me wonder, like, how much of that movie was ad lib? Like,
a lot of it.
Which
to me makes it. What makes it funnier, but then also makes it more troublesome for
the story
this day and age, because then it's like, well, if they're making it up as they go, then that's what this person thinks. That's how they act. That's how they talk.
Yeah, that's a good point. I feel like in that cast though, you had Steve Carell, who's obviously ad-libbing, who's great at it, which we've seen. Seth Rogen started off as a comedian. So he's obviously good with well, they're all good with ad lib.
Yeah, I think they all have some sort of improv background.
Yeah, there must be. And I even the yanking, like I'm trying to think of all of the different scenarios where like would a movie be made now? And when he was getting waxed, I thought to myself, I'm pretty sure there would be someone that would complain about like, oh, you know what, they're subjecting themselves to violence or to pain or whatever, and it's like, no, this was just for a comedic, like they were like.
I mean, because he actually got waxed there.
Yeah,
or I thought you were saying because they walked into it's an Asian.
No, like
the
just
stereotype.
No. I'm saying because he got actually waxed.
Yeah,
that there would be people that would be like, like he's taking it too far, and like self-deprecation or whatever.
Yeah.
But no, like he's actually like they're committed. It's almost like Daniel Day-Lewis and Matthew McConaughey, like method actors with the scene and not with the character,
Mm-hmm.
So it was great though. Like it's and then like even when they like the first time that they take Andy out to the bar and he meets with that girl and she pukes and I think I might have eaten bad clamfish or shell clam or whatever it was, and then she pukes all over him. Oh, so good.
And then she has like the forethought to think, oh, at least I don't have to work out tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I'll still have sex with you if you want. And he's like, no, I'm good.
Yeah,
I just want to live. Oh, so good.
I'm gonna pass on the sex.
Yeah, no, it's like it's okay. Yeah.
Another part I like is the exchange with Catherine Keener and Jonah Hill about the boots. I just want to buy them so I can go home and wear them, and you're making this extremely difficult.
What's the and then the other one where is it not like the black guy? What's the black guy's name?
Jay,
and he's talking with the older black guy. I'm from Brooklyn.
That's a Brooklyn accent.
It's a Brooklyn. You're a Brooklyn bitch. Oh, so good.
And let's not forget Jane Lynch is Paula.
She's amazing.
So I also read too that role was originally written as a male role until they casted her, and they just basically didn't change the script. She just ad-libbed her stuff over top of it.
She comes from that
I think
school
UBC or
of
something
like ad
something
lib
down there.
words, like waiting for Guffman, best in show.
Yeah, she's in that world, like Christopher Guest world.
Chris, yeah, like, and that's like she's just
ready to
like
play.
ready to play. Like she
Yeah.
can, you give her kind of like a start point, an end point, kind of where the guardrails, and just let her go. Like when she's
That's
talking
Curb, right?
about
That's how they do it in Curb.
Oh, it's amazing, and like that's true talent,
Mm-hmm.
when she's going on about the pool boy and like having sex and love. And you can almost just sense like Steve Carell just like about to lose.
Yeah, just trying to keep it together.
Like just keeping it together, which is great because you've seen Steve Carell do that from the other side.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost it's amazing when you see like two people that are really good at potentially throwing off other actors colliding within a scene and just saying, okay, who's gonna flinch first? Like,
well, like even taking Steve Carell again, go back to the bloopers for Bruce Almighty where he's doing that.
Oh,
and then like
right.
how he never breaks and just Catherine Bell sitting next to him is just like in tears laughing. But the one scene that you're forgetting that 100% would not make it on air in any capacity today is, do you want to know how I know you're gay?
Yeah. I mean, that's the obvious one for sure.
Everything that they say, just from their, it's not, and then the stuff that they say is like not even
offensive.
It's not really even offensive or even stereotypical either.
It was just
random things they're saying that they to them is like using gay is like not as like a pejorative to being like lame.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't that bad. It really wasn't that bad.
No, like if you watched, I think there's on the DVD what they call like the Linorama. There's like an extended version of that. It's like 6-7 minutes. Okay. So there's a ton of other stuff they don't even. So you probably find it on YouTube. But there's a lot of stuff that is far more offensive.
Yeah, that they didn't include in the movie.
Yeah, they just like, I guess it's a go, and then they kept going until somebody ran out or whatever. But yeah, there's a lot that was make the movie.
But again, like there's your example of just like Apatow is like you've got your start point, your end point.
Yeah.
Just ad lib your way through it. Yeah, there was. What else was I going to say? I lost my train of thought. Oh, the speed dating. The speed dating was good too. Like the name's Gina. Like, and she's just got her like arm up, and just
hop back on that pogo stick.
That's right. Yeah. Just. But there was that was kind of I feel that was I'm not going to say golden era of comedies because we talked about this earlier today, like what our top 5 favorite comedies are, but it certainly was a period of time from like 2001 to 2005, maybe 6, where like comedies that were coming out then were just like gold. And it was 40-year-old virgin, it was old school, it was
Wedding
Super
Crashers.
Bad, it was Wedding Crashers, it was just like
Step Brothers, Pineapple Express.
Step Brothers. But there was like that.
Yeah, there's a good run of R-rated comedies
for sure, and they were just comedies. They were the comedies that stand the test of time, which is generational because the last time you had that, I feel, was in like the mid to late 90s, and you only go through those cycles every once in a while where you get those comedies. And I feel like it's been a long time since we've had comedies that are like that. And the last that I can think of is Bridesmaids and The Hangover, the first one, not the second and third one, but those two movies were kind of the last time that it was a comedy that was everybody loved and like everybody thought it was funny, and it was just could potentially stand the test of time. So it's been a while. It certainly has been a while.
Yeah, I can't think of anything, at least in the I don't know, it's the short 2020s. But
No?
like
There
I said, I
hasn't
think the
been.
last good one that I really enjoyed was Ted.
Ted too, but when did Ted come out? Are you talking about the first one or the second
First
one?
one.
So the first one was what?
2012, I think.
Yeah, like that's over 10 years ago.
Can't see here what Ted release date.
I'm gonna. It's yeah.
Feels like it was 2012. Yeah, June 29. Almost 11 years.
I want to say that Bridesmaids was 2016, and then Hangover was 20.
Bridesmaids was 2011.
Come on, fuck off! Really?
You just lost a whole lot of time.
Wow.
And the first Hangover was 2009.
Oh my god.
That's like 7 years you just lost.
That's like so. Basically, like
for you, it's been even longer than me, sir.
So, for me, it just proves my point that it's been that long since there's been a string of comedies that like we're due. I feel like we're due. And you know what it is? It comes down to that group of actors, that are in the zeitgeist of like the world, where there was like Will Ferrell, Vince Vaughn, Owen Wilson, Luke Wilson, and then before that it was oh my god.
Well, like the big ones in the 70s, you had like Richard Pryor, you had Gene Wilder, you had Chevy Chase, Bill Murray, Harold Ramis, Dan Aykroyd, John Belushi.
So I feel like we don't really have anyone right now that will carry that torch, I guess you could say, right?
No, like and some like a Jonah Hill or Michael Cera, like those guys from Superbad. Like Michael Cera kind of went off, and like you don't hear from him nearly.
But
as
even
much.
not
And
even him, like Jonah Hill and
he's more dramatic
Seth
now,
Rogen. Right? Jonah Hill, Seth Rogen, like they were maybe the last part of that group that were pretty funny.
We still got Paul Rudd though.
Yeah, ageless
wonder. So I told you I had a better idea for opening up the homework more. So, for next week, let's redeem a shitty movie. Okay. So make the case for something that folks majority would say sucks, and defend it. And we've already used Masters of the Universe, so that's off the table.
So is this a roundabout way of saying like, what is your guilty pleasure?
Doesn't have to be just one that like if you're just flipping the channels and saw like, oh, watch this, like, yeah, this is actually not as bad as people think. Like
I already have
Gone
mine.
Gone in 60 Seconds.
I already have mine.
All right, well,
are we gonna save it for next week? Or
save it.
Okay.
Guess you just like I said, you could watch something else.
So it's what is a shitty movie, but how can we redeem
what
it?
Most people would deem shitty. And it could even be like you and your friends, think it's good, but the critics said this is bad.
Yeah.
Like Constantine.
I have one. Constantine. It was actually a pretty bad movie though, when you think about it.
Watch it again. Surprise you.
Really?
Just watch it again. Keanu Reeves can do no wrong.
He is a goddamn Canadian treasure.
Like he wants to do another one.
Dodgeball #2, I heard. It's coming out.
Yeah, Beetlejuice 2.
On Beetlejuice 2.
This goes to our
comes down with like, is it Michael Caine or is it not Michael Caine? If it's not Michael Caine, I don't know.
Well, it's Michael Keaton,
or Michael Keaton, pardon me. I don't know that I have the time. If it's not Michael Keaton.
Well, 30 plus years, is it even worth it? Same with Dodgeball too. Like
makeup can do a lot.
Doesn't matter though. Like we've talked about this before. Dumb and Dumber 2, fucking Avatar 2. How long's too long, and at which point is it worth it?
My kind of makes you happy that they haven't done it then with the Goonies, right? Because the Goonies for me is like sacred. And if they were to ever remake that movie, which they almost kind of did with the Netflix movie where they went to Honolulu, and it was kind of the same thing, but it wasn't quite.
Yeah, like I can get if everybody behind it wants to do it again, but the audience has to go, really? Do we need it? I don't care if everybody's involved. Like Beetlejuice, you got Keaton, you got Burton behind the camera. Does it matter? Really?
Get Alec Baldwin to do Donald Trump.
Sometimes just because they come back doesn't mean the story warrants it. Like Dumb and Dumber didn't hit. The jokes didn't land. Even though it's the same cast, same directors, same writing team. Avatar 2 it's the same movie.
Let old dogs lie. Right?
Yeah, like it would. I know I'm gonna shoot myself in the foot. Like I liked Ghostbusters Afterlife. It wasn't the same thing though. Like they took what worked and they gave it the respect that it deserves, but then try to do something else with it. And that's why it landed for a lot of people. If you're just gonna have Michael Keaton doing Beetlejuice with now try to shoehorn in, say this person's related to the people who are no longer in it, that might not necessarily work.
No, that's a good point.
If you do Avatar 2, where it's, hey, look, it's the same characters you love doing the exact same thing, and now we're going to introduce this other part of Pandora and do the exact same thing that we did over here, doesn't work. So it's a fine line. And to your point, if you do it, Beetlejuice in, was it 85?
No,
and then do
86, yeah. Mid-80s.
So, and then you do it early 90s. Is that too soon or too far?
Mm-hmm.
You watched Avatar a couple months ago. You're going to watch it again, Avatar 2. Is it too soon? Are you going to dislike it now because you watched it 6 weeks ago? Or are you going to like it just as much because you just watched it 6 weeks ago?
You know what it is? It's lazy millennials that are just not putting in the work on creating new stories, and they're just recycling,
IP, man. It makes more sense. Like what would you rather do? Would you rather make another of something people already know
and love,
or spend the money on something nobody has any idea of that may or may not like it,
and risk your career?
Right? Yeah. Do I want to be Chris Nolan, or do I want to be Bob Iger over in Disney? Well, Bob Iger's got a lot of money running a studio. Christopher Nolan's a player for hire.
Yeah. Just as long as they don't fuck it up. Like there's a few, movies that I just really hope they don't ever mess with. Goonies is number one. Back to the Future is number 2. 100%. Uncle Buck would be another one for me, I would say. Breakfast Club would be another one. Like there's just certain movies where it's like, they belong in the time that they were made.
Yeah, don't touch anything John Hughes did.
Just don't. 16 Candles. Don't make 17 Sweethearts. Just don't do that.
Just rip it off. Call it something else. Pretend it's the same. Just don't.
Which it's happened before. That has happened many times. So anyway.
So you have the Transformers and you have the GoBots. All right. At 2 hours, I'd say that's a good.
Oh my God, we are at 2 hours.
Extended open collar for making up.
My wife is like, when can I go to bed?
Go.
Just hold on a second. Anyway, because I'm in my cloffice, people. Same. My office, which is my cloffice.
Love it.
So
that's it. Open collar.
Do we have an outro, or are we doing that?
It's too long. Let's just we'll throw the logo up there and
follow us on our socials.
I'll put that back up.
Boom. That's on our socials.
Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Open Collar Pod. And now, Feel Good Feldman.
Their ketchup's coming out a lot slower than ours does. That's not good manners.
Oh, you noticed our Heinz. Here, taste it. Anticipation. Anticipation is making me wait.
Best ketchup I ever tasted.
That's pouring it on a little thick.
Yeah!
Thick, rich Heinz ketchup. The taste